Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk. Ich habe es endlich nach Vancouver geschafft, bin jetzt bei meinem ersten Interview. Es ist Donnerstag, was für einen Tag haben wir heute? Keine Ahnung, ich glaube 23. Mai. Und bei mir eine neue Firma, Brixton Metals. Gary Thompson ist bei mir als Chairman, CEO und auch großer Aktionär des Unternehmens. Und ich kenne die Firma selber nicht, deswegen bin ich schon gespannt, wie er mir sie vorsteht. Gary, thank you to have time. It's early in the morning. We must changing a little bit everything. Then I lose one day, so we must squeeze it everything in 3 days. Thank you to have time this morning. And I said in my German introduction, I have not really too much clue about your company.
Okay.
So what is the focus of your company? And the second question is why investors should buy it now.
All right. So, Brixton is a junior company here based in Vancouver, focused on precious metals and base metals in safe jurisdictions like Canada and the U.S. Mm-hmm. So the company has 4 assets. Probably our most advanced is the Hog Heaven project in northwest Montana. And then we have a silver cobalt asset in Ontario, Canada. And our focus this year is on our 2 northwest British Columbia projects. In the Atlan gold fields, mm-hmm. It's a high-grade gold camp, orogenic gold that we own 1,000 square kilometers of tenure. It's been our most recent acquisition. It took us about 2 years to assemble, 2 years and about, 12 property deals to assemble this 1,000 square kilometers in a historical, actually fairly famous placer gold camp. They've been mining gold out of this Atlan camp for 120 mm-hmm. years.
And where placer is normally also, placer is only that what's coming up on the surface. But
correct. The gold has to come from somewhere, yeah. And there's strong evidence to support that it's coming from local sources, certainly not falling from the sky. And we don't believe it's been transported by glaciers either. Mm-hmm. There's strong evidence that it is coming locally. And there has been a fair amount of work done historically there, but no real sustained continued effort to try and find the hard rock source. So we do have some historical drillings that were done at very, very high grade. Like one of the best intervals was 5.5 meters of 500 grams gold. That's 16 ounces of gold over 5 meters. So it's kind of the way we see it. It's kind of an analog to the Barkerville mm-hmm. Gold camp. Barkerville produced gold for about 160 years. And Atlan, 120 years, so a little bit behind as far as development, and certainly not as much hard rock exploration mm-hmm. Focus on the gold. So it's the first time a public company assembled all this land under one banner, and mm-hmm. we don't own the whole camp. I mean, we have a big land position. But what's interesting is that there's gold coming from almost all the drainages over like a 40 by 40 kilometer area. So it's basically one hell of a gold anomaly. Mm-hmm. So we've got most of our budget this year. We've got about a $2 million exploration budget this year, and it's split between this Atlan project and our other property in northwest BC called Thorn. Mm-hmm. Thorn's been I'll call it our flagship project since the company was started in 2010. It's a little more remote. It doesn't have road access, whereas Atlan, you can drive right to it, and it's not far from the town and closer to Whitehorse. Okay. So the other focus for us, in fact, we have crews in the field right now. That's why our office is fairly quiet today. All our geologists are out in the field. So we're working both projects right now. We're in Atlan, getting established and getting set up there, and by next week sometime we're going to shift gears. I would say a little bit of a back and forth between the 2 properties. Mm-hmm. They're about 120 kilometers apart. Mm-hmm. So the other part of our focus this year is on Thorn. It's going to be largely focused on these. We have a couple of large-scale copper gold porphyry targets. These are large-scale systems. The one that we're drilling on in the next week here is called the Oban zone. It's in the Camp Creek copper corridor where we've historically pulled some pretty impressive copper numbers, and the plan there is to drill a deep hole. We're going to drill a 1,000-meter hole to test what we believe is a potential large porphyry system mm-hmm. at depth there. So we want to test that with this deep hole, and then we have another large target that we've developed over the last couple of years called Chivas. It's It's about 4 kilometers to the south of where we're going to drill this deep hole, but it looks like a very large-scale copper-gold porphyry system as well. So really the focus for us this year is going to be copper porphyry targets at Thorn and the high-grade gold in Atlan.
2 million is a very serious number, especially in this market condition. I have the feeling that really a lot of Vancouver companies, junior companies, are struggling at the moment with the capital market. But you have a really good cash position.
Yeah, we're in decent shape.
Yeah, so you are really in good shape. And then it brings me to the share structure. You said before you have a recent number in your own stock. Where are the biggest people or from your shareholder base?
Yeah, well, management's up there. I think collectively, management and insiders are around 8%. Rob McEwen is our largest shareholder outside of management. We have Gold 2000, which is a Swiss-based fund. U.S. Global. Eric Sprott's a shareholder. Then we have Hecla Mining and Pan American Silver as significant shareholders as well. So pretty good roster of shareholders, and then it's fairly broadly held outside of that.
Coming back to your exploration program, when we can expect the first results out of the drilling, then normally drilling and analyzing of the drill.
Yeah, I guess it's a function of how quickly we can get the hole drilled. So let's say we're starting early, first couple of days in June. Our guess is that hole shouldn't take too long. It is a long hole. It probably will slow down as we get further down the hole. But we know, we did intercept some mineralization. It's not a brand new area. We have done a fair amount of drilling in there. So we think it should go fairly quick. So our best guess is we should see results. Initial results should be coming out by the end of June or early July.
Okay. And now the main idea is of the company is to do it by yourself, or you bring it up to a certain number on resource and so on and sell it then the project? What is the business case?
We're trying to keep the blinders off. I think in this market we need to be open to however we can add shareholder value here. We're trying to unlock the potential of these projects, and we think we can do that by drilling. But given we'll say the challenges in the junior market right now, we're certainly open to JVs and farming some of these things out. In fact, we would probably sell one of these things outright if we got the right number for it. So we're not necessarily committed to one path, I think, for the company. Yes, we would like to see these things advance down the development towards feasibility and ultimately to production. I mean, it'd be great to get into a production scenario where you bring in a major partner and you have some piece of that production where you're getting some cash flow from that. So we're looking at the whole spectrum of opportunities. How can we've got a good portfolio of assets. We've got 4 wholly owned assets that each one of these things have delivered exceptional drill results. Now we need to advance these one way or another to down towards feasibility. So however we get there, we're not too fussed. We own them. They have very low low holding costs on them. So we're not we don't feel we're at risk of losing them. We're in good shape. We've done enough work on them to hold them for many years. So we're in good shape that way, and we'll continue to drive forward. And obviously, we anticipate good results. We'll see what we can generate this year.
When you do the last private placement, at which price?
We did financing at the end of last year. It was a combination of flow-through at 17 cents and units at 15 cents. I think they were currently trading around 12 cents Canadian.
Gary, thank you for the first introduction to your company.
You're
Next
welcome.
time when I come over, we can talk a little bit deeper. Then you have all the results also coming up.
Sure.
You're coming up with really interesting numbers. So 500 grams gold is really a great number.
I know. We need to get some more of those results. I think we'll be in good shape.
And this were they shallow or deeper?
Yeah, those are quite shallow. What's interesting about this Atlan Goldfields project is that the work was done historically by a company called Homestake Mineral Development Company. They did a fair amount of work in the 80s and late 80s up here. And of course 1990 hit, the price of gold tanked for a decade, and there wasn't much activity after that. But they did good work there, and how they found it was the placer miners were digging to the bottom of the creeks and got into the bedrock, and then they said, oh, there's still gold here, and then they started drilling, and they got some very very impressive numbers. This is called the Yellow Jacket zone, and a subsequent company permitted a mine here. We actually have a permitted 200 ton a day mine and mill operation set up here. It's currently on care and maintenance right now. And what we're trying to do is find more of that material close to surface. So it's it's pretty interesting. There's certainly lots of high grade around.
With these high grade numbers, makes still 200 tons a day mill makes sense.
Yeah, well, if you look at there's companies out there that are doing that. Like Golden Predator is a good example. They're just bulk testing 10,000 ton a year bulk test sampling. So we're certainly see how they do on that. But we're more explorationists. If you look at our team, we're mostly geologists, and we're good at finding stuff and advancing it and developing them. We'll need to bring in a separate team to once we start mining these things if we do.
And then you lose a little bit more the focus on it, and it's always tough. So it's better you be...
It's a tough transition to go from exploration development to a miner, and that's a different set of skills that we currently don't have in our team yet, but it's not to say we couldn't bring them in or bring a partner in to do that work where we can participate in the upside.
Gary, thank you for the introduction.
You're very welcome.
In your company. Ja, erste Firma, Brixton Metals. Sie sind eine Company, die sich auf Exploration eigentlich konzentriert, und zwar auf Basic-Metalle und vor allem hier Kupfer und aber auch Gold und Silber, also Edelmetalle. Und sie haben eine sehr, sehr große Landposition aufgekauft in den letzten Jahren. Das war relativ schwierig, das zu bekommen. Das erste Mal, dass eigentlich einer so eine große Landposition dort hat. Das Adlin, das ist im Norden von BC. Und Thorn, die sind auch im Norden von BC, die sind 120 Kilometer ungefähr auseinander. Das Programm läuft momentan, Explorationsprogramm. Sie haben heuer ein $2 Millionen Programm. Das ist für eine Explorationscompany wirklich viel, weil in Kanada ist es momentan so, dass die Firmen wirklich ein Problem haben, an Geld zu kommen. Und viele sind da jetzt auch wirklich im Überlebensmodus. Und Adlin hat aber sehr gute, sehr interessante Zahlen. Also es ist eigentlich ein Blizzard Gold Projekt gewesen früher. Das heißt, dort haben sie ja an der Oberfläche quasi das Gold gewaschen, aber irgendwo muss ja das Gold herkommen. Irgendwo muss der Source sein von diesem Gold. Und sie haben jetzt da 1000 Quadratkilometer Landfläche dort zusammengestellt. Homestake hat in den 80er Jahren dort relativ viele auch gebohrt, unter anderem 5,5 Meter mit über 500 Gramm Gold pro Tonne. Das ist wirklich extrem viel, 2,6 Meter mit 800 Gramm und das ziemlich nahe an der Oberfläche, und sie wollen halt dieses Jahr auf dieses oberflächennahe Goldsystem konzentrieren und bei Thorn auf das Kupferprojekt. Da wollen sie ein tiefes Bohrloch reinjagen mit 1000 Meter tief, weil unten ein Porphyr erwartet ist, und das ist eigentlich ein Großteil der Aufgabe, die sie heuer gemacht haben. Ihre Projekte sind großteils, sie haben jetzt 4 große Projekte in Kanada und eines in den USA, also alles in sichere Judikaturen. Das ist ja auch wichtig, und es ist eigentlich auch alles in der Nähe, das heißt, Sie können das alles sehr schön lokal auch von Vancouver hier aus steuern. Aktionärsstruktur ist auch spannend. Sie haben 90 Millionen Aktien draußen. Das letzte Placement war bei 15 Cent und 17 Cent Flow-Through. Sie haben 90 Millionen Aktien ungefähr draußen. Er gibt jetzt momentan eine Marktkapitalisierung von 11 Millionen. Sie haben 3,4 Millionen auf der Bank, 2 Millionen geben sie davor aus. Er sagt, wichtig ist auch, dass ihre Projekte sehr wenig Kosten verursachen. Es gibt ja Projekte, da müssen sie jährliche Kosten dazu zahlen, dass sie das Land benutzen dürfen, damit sie das Recht nicht verlieren, die Lizenz nicht verlieren und so weiter. Das kostet ja was. Sie haben aber, die Projektkosten sind sehr niedrig, das heißt, sie haben kein Problem, dass sie das verlieren und sie haben genug Arbeit reingesteckt, damit sie in den nächsten Jahren das Projekt auch halten können. Sie haben sehr gute Aktionäre, das Management und er haben um die 8%, dann der Rob McEwen hat auch eine große Position, Gold 2000 aus der Schweiz hat eine sehr große Position, dann ist Heckler noch dabei, Pan American Silver, Eric Sprott ist dabei, wo immer es dazu gibt, ist auch Eric Sprott dabei und ja, von daher relativ klare, überschaubare Aktionärsstruktur, haben noch relativ viel Cash, ein großes Explorationsprogramm, was heuer läuft und ja, jetzt schauen wir mal, was da dementsprechend rauskommt, denn wenn du natürlich da eine Discovery Hole hast, überhaupt beim Purführ, dann könnte das natürlich schon für eine irrsinnige Dynamik sorgen am Markt. Ja, das war's von Brixton Metals im Mai 2018. 19 sind wir. Tschüss und Baba.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
I forget that we are in 2019, not 2018.